Hey guys, I've got a really fun, exciting video for you today. I have a tag video that I'm going to be filming for you. This is the luxury makeup starter kit tag video, and I am doing this in collaboration with one of my favorite YouTubers here. Her name is Angela Van Rose. We have collaborated before. She talks about luxury makeup as well, kind of focuses in on that. We love a lot of the same things. We talk often. I just adore Angela. She is just a really sweet soul, and I could listen to her all day. You guys have to check out her channel, especially if you're American, because she has the most incredible European accent, and she's it's intoxicating. Just listening to her talk about all of her favorite products and reviews, and yeah, I could listen to her all day. So definitely check out her channel down below, and definitely check out her tag video, which I'll also link down below in my description box. And if you are new here and coming over from Angela's channel, or just new here, coming over from Angela's channel or not, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. And that's what this tag and these questions are really geared towards, or just, you know, people who haven't gotten into luxury makeup just yet. They're curious. They really don't know where to start. So that's, you know, how we kind of form these questions. So let's go ahead and get started with the first question, which is, where should someone start when it comes to luxury makeup? And of course, this is from my point of view. This is my perspective, and I have tried a lot of luxury makeup. If you're not new here, you know that I've really gone through a lot of luxury makeup over the past several years, and I would have to say one of the most consistent products I have come across in terms of luxury makeup is foundation. I find most luxury foundations I have tried usually work out pretty well. Of course, it depends on your skin type, it depends on your preference, it depends on your application technique, all sorts of things. But I find that I don't really have, you know, some, of course there are exceptions, but generally I don't really have a terrible experience when it comes to luxury foundations. So that's someplace I would definitely suggest someone starting with. I also feel like base and your skin and your complexion is really the foundation, no pun intended, the foundation for the rest of your makeup. So when it comes to foundations, I think it's a great place to sort of invest your money. And I think it's also a really important step when it comes to makeup. So that's where I would suggest starting in terms of luxury makeup. Okay, the second question is there anything you should stay away from? That's tough. I mean, again, it just sort of depends on preference and, you know, those sorts of things. But I would say, and I don't actually really have a lot of firsthand experience when it comes to drugstore mascara, but I always hear, this is like the one thing I always hear, that drugstore mascara is just as good, if not better, than higher priced, higher end luxury mascara. So I would say, like, don't really, you know, spend your money on luxury mascara. That's probably not worth it. The only experience I can share with you in terms of mascara is a long time ago, I remember a YouTuber suggesting, I can't even remember, but someone that I was watching suggested a drugstore mascara. And the only difference that I experienced with this one drugstore mascara versus luxury mascara was that there was a very kind of short life cycle with the mascara, that when I first opened it up, it was very wet. And then as soon as it dried out a little bit, maybe like my second or third try, all of a sudden it like hit its sweet spot and it was great. And I was like, oh my God, this is an amazing mascara. And then very quickly it seemed like it dried out. And I remember using the mascara and thinking, wow, this feels really different. And it would start to flake during the day. So it just had this very kind of short, dramatic life cycle where I don't feel like I get that with luxury mascaras. Luxury mascaras, for me personally, again, my experience, the ones that I've tried, their performance and their texture, the formula, stays very consistent throughout its life. And you know, I don't go through mascaras. I know people go through mascaras very quickly. And if you're one of those people, then definitely just use a drugstore mascara. And I know mascaras are definitely one of those products that you do not want to use for more than like 3 or 4 months. I drag it out a little bit. I definitely use mascaras a little bit longer than that. So for me personally, luxury mascaras maybe are worth it in terms of that, because I do use them longer. I do feel like they are consistent. They stay good for the time that I'm using them versus drugstore mascara. But in general, I would say that's probably not a place you want to sort of spend your money in terms of luxury makeup. Okay, question number 3. If you could only purchase one category of luxury makeup for the rest of your life, what would it be? And by category, we meant foundation, blush, eyeshadow, lipstick, etc., etc. I think, I'm going to refer back to my answer to question number 1. I think it would be foundations. As much as I love blushes and cheek products, blushes, highlights, contour, bronzers, all that sort of thing, I think when it comes to luxury makeup, it does really sing when it comes to base products. So I think it would be foundation for me. Number 4, what is one luxury makeup brand you would recommend for someone starting out? Oh wow, I should have thought about this before I started filming. One luxury makeup brand. It's funny. If you were to have asked me this question even just a couple weeks ago, my answer probably would have been different. But right now, I'm kind of like, my love for Tom Ford has been like rekindled because he just came out with some new eyeshadow quads that I'm really, really enjoying. He came out with the Eye Color Quad Creme formula in 3 different colorways. I love all 3 of them. And then the Badass Extreme eyeshadow quads, I thought those were really, really incredible. So yeah, I'm kind of having this like love affair with Tom Ford again, and his range is really extensive. I feel like his foundation range is really, really great. I feel like there's something for everyone there. I personally love the, oh gosh, it's the one that comes in the really fancy square glass bottle. I think it's the shade in Illuminate. It's not the Traceless Soft Matte. That doesn't really work for my dry skin. But he's got great foundations. I love his bronzer. His new blushes are incredible. His lipstick, while I think they do go bad fairly quickly, and apparently they fixed the formula in regards to that, but I just tried the Bitter Peach, this one, the Cherie lipstick, and this was actually delivered to me. I tried it on for the first time and it did not taste good. So I'm not sure about the lipsticks. His lip glosses I really, really enjoy. I just feel like his line is really well like fleshed out. It's got a little bit of everything. Powder is great. The Fiber Brow Gel, you guys know, is one of my favorites. We'll see what they're doing with that, if they reformulate that or if they're just producing more. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I just feel like his line is really, really extensive and just a really great brand to kind of get into because there's like all this stuff that you can get into. What is one luxury makeup brand you would tell someone to stay away from? Oh geez. Wow. To stay away from. I don't know if there's one brand where I have felt like all of their products were not that great. I will say this is tough. Okay, I have a semi answer. I have had a very, very bad experience with this brand's eyeshadows. All of them. I have tried like limited edition ones. I've tried new. It's just a terrible, terrible formula, and it is Givenchy. So I would say stay away from Givenchy eyeshadows. They're really, really not good. But I do like that, is it the Prism Libre foundation? That one worked out really, really well for me. That's Givenchy. Their lipsticks are really nice, but yeah, it's that eyeshadow formula that they have. It's really terrible. It's dusty and there's no pigmentation. And as soon as you start to try and blend out the eyeshadow, it just completely blends away. And like I said, I've been trying their eyeshadows for years. I feel like before I even started my YouTube channel, and every single eyeshadow palette, whether it's a quad, I've tried limited edition ones, I tried those 9-pan ones that they came out with, I don't know, maybe for fall last year. Oh, it was like, I tried it and I just kind of closed it. I put it back in its box and I returned it. I think I got it from Sephora. It just wasn't, it wasn't good. So I would say definitely stay away from Givenchy eyeshadows. They're really bad. If you guys have had a good experience with their eyeshadows, please let me know down below in the comment section, because it's also a product I don't feel like I ever hear anyone talk about too much. Maybe it's because they've had the same experience I did, and it's like, I don't even know what to say about this. They're just not good. Is there any brand though? I don't want to like, is there any brand to stay away from? Well, I would say also, this is very, very specific to me, and I do actually really love their products. However, if you do not like fragrance in your products, I can take a little bit. I can take a little bit of fragrance, but it cannot be overbearing. And I definitely do not want to smell it beyond like the application of it and maybe a few minutes past that. I don't want to smell it all day. And when it comes to La Prairie, their products are so, so fragrant that I got their loose powder and it worked well. It worked well. You only needed a little bit. A little bit went a long way. They gave you a ton of product. The packaging is beautiful. Again, I thought it looked great on the skin, but it was so overbearing that I just had to declutter it because I never used it because I would look at it, I'd be tempted, and then I would think, oh God, that scent, it's like nauseating. So La Prairie, stay away from La Prairie if you do not like scented products. Number 6, what is the one makeup brand you wish you tried sooner? I would say I have two. I have two brands. Oh, okay. I'll mention both. The first one is Sisley. I just always associated that with much older ladies. And I think mainly because I knew of their skincare before their makeup. And I think it's also because one of my very good friends in college, her mother like swore by Sisley. And so I always associated it to an older, more mature woman. Not that I'm not, okay, I'm definitely getting on in my years. But I was like, you know what, I'll wait. I'll wait to use those products. They're obviously meant for older skin. But I wish I had, just started using it sooner. First of all, it's never too early, I think, to take care of your skin. And the Sisley makeup line is incredible. You guys know how much I love Sisley. Their makeup is really, really impeccable, and it all is infused with like botanical extracts, and skincare is infused in all of their makeup. And the products that I love from Sisley, I love. There's nothing I really, really dislike from Sisley. Let me think. Yeah, there's nothing I really am like, oh my God. Oh, actually, I take that back. There's a mascara from them. Just doesn't work for me. Again, probably personal preference, but it was kind of clumpy and it flaked. It is not this mascara, which is the So Stretch. This is the one with the really skinny, like Christmas tree shaped wand. This one actually works really well for me. I think it was the So Curl. Yeah, I think that one did not work for me. And there was another one, maybe So Volume. Yeah, those two. In fact, I think this is the only mascara of theirs that has worked for me. So anyway, other than that, I feel like every Sisley product has worked really, really well for me. And then the other brand I wanted to mention is Chantecaille. I remember seeing their counter it was either Barney's or Saks, and they had all of those really high shine chrome packaging, and I thought it was really pretty. And again, I was much, much younger. It was like they were brand new, I remember. So this was, I don't know how many years ago Chantecaille was introduced to, Barney's or whatever. But they were brand new, and I remember walking up there and I was really taken by all the packaging. And my first experience with them was someone that worked at the counter, and she just came up and she just sprayed my face with their pure rose water. And when I was younger, much younger, I had really much more sensitive, I still have sensitive skin, but I had much more sensitive skin back then. And I was also really sensitive to fragrance. And I was so taken aback that she sprayed this on my face without asking, by the way. She just, just kind of spritzed me, and I was like, oh my God, what was that? Anyway, so I was really turned off by that, really, really turned off by that. And back then, I did not like rose. I love rose now, but back then I did not like rose. I really didn't like fragrance at all. It bothered me. I was sure my skin was gonna break out in some way, and I just was really, really sort of taken aback by that experience. So anyway, I just was turned off by Chantecaille from that point forward until I moved to Vegas. And when I moved to Vegas, I was poking around the Chanel counter, I believe was it Neiman Marcus? No, it was at Saks. I was poking around the Chanel counter, and right next to the Chanel counter was Chantecaille. And the salesperson at Chanel was kind of like, hey, psst, have you tried Chantecaille? And I was like, no, it's okay. And she was like, here, let me give you some samples. And that's when my love affair with Chantecaille started. And that sales associate, I would go, but she was so knowledgeable about Chantecaille, but she was actually a Chanel salesperson. She was like, she would tell me that she personally loved Chantecaille and would always kind of promote it. If someone felt turned off by Chanel for whatever reason, she would be like, try Chantecaille. And she just loved it. And her love of it was definitely contagious. And yeah, and I just started buying it from then on, and I just fell in love with the brand more and more and more. And so I wish that I had been, well, a little bit more open-minded and not let that one sales associate kind of ruin my experience from Chantecaille. But c'est la vie, and now I'm in love with it, and I'm glad that I finally gave them a shot. Okay, question number 7. Would you recommend spending money on makeup or skincare? Personally, I would say skincare. Again, your skin is so important. First of all, I just feel like, it's the largest organ in our body, all that stuff. But it's important to take care of your skin. And if you don't have skin that you're happy with, I don't think there's much makeup that is going to really help that situation. Like, you really have to be happy with how your skin looks to really benefit, I think, from makeup. Yeah, I would say skincare. My hesitation is that makeup is just so much more, I think it's so much more fun. Like eyeshadow and blush, like it's so much more instantly transformative. Where skincare, it usually takes a while. You don't see results right away. And it's kind of boring. Again, it's like, you put cream on, you're like, okay, great, I'm going to bed now. But, makeup is fun. Like, I really love playing with makeup. It just, I don't know, brings out my creative side, all of those good things. So that's why I hesitate in saying that. Like, of course, you spend your money however you want. But I would say if you really wanted to invest in some luxury beauty, I would say skincare. Number 8, why do you personally love luxury makeup? Wow. I love luxury makeup because I love makeup, and I love the whole experience of luxury makeup. Like, I like going to the counter. I mean, I've been doing a lot of online shopping lately for obvious reasons, but I do like going to the counter, talking to a sales associate, asking them what's new, what do they recommend, all sorts of things, just kind of hang out with them and see. Like, I like the whole experience. I like the packaging. It's usually so much more luxe than drugstore makeup. When I go to the drugstore and I'm tempted to buy some makeup, I just get really overwhelmed. It's like hanging off of the wall, and it's just from ceiling to floor. And because I'm not familiar with drugstore makeup, I just get so overwhelmed, where I really like the counters at luxury makeup stores or high-end department stores. And you can really just kind of like play around with the stuff, ask some questions. I like the entire process of it all. So that's one reason why I really love luxury makeup. And the other reason why I love it is, I love like luxury brands. And I remember being much younger and not being able to afford a Tom Ford coat or a Tom Ford handbag or a Chanel handbag or whatever it is. And so I would get a Chanel blush. I would get a Tom Ford lipstick. And even though a Tom Ford lipstick is expensive for a lipstick, it is nothing compared to a coat, an outfit, a pair of shoes, a handbag from the same brand. And so you get a bit of that luxury without having to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. So those are like 2 of the main reasons for me, like the whole experience, the packaging and the shopping experience, and also just being able to have like a little bit of luxury without having to spend the thousands of dollars. Okay, number 9, should luxury makeup brushes be invested in? Absolutely. Absolutely. I have just a very minor kind of small background in art and in fine art, and there is nothing more important than the tools that you use. Luxury brushes generally are brushes that are very well made. They're probably at this point made in Japan. They're usually hand bound. A lot of them are natural haired, and there is uses for all of the different types of fibers and the different styles of brushes and everything. And I feel like once you get into makeup, if you want like a seamless application, there's really no way around using a really, really good brush. Investing in some good brushes. It really makes the entire makeup application so much more pleasant and a lot less frustrating if you have the right tools. And that, of course, just comes with experience. It comes obviously with getting to know your style, your technique, your personal preferences in terms of makeup. But there really is, I don't think there is any substitute for luxury brushes. Like my Sonia G brushes, my Refer brushes, even my Westman Atelier brushes, which are synthetic haired. They're also handmade in Japan, and there's just a difference with them. The quality of the fibers is just, they're wonderful. I'm actually looking at an Esom brush. This is sable hair, and there's like no substitute for sable hair brushes. They're so, so good. There's really also no substitute for like squirrel hair brushes. Squirrel hair brushes are really, really, really soft. I'm trying to find a squirrel. Oh, here. My Chikuhodo cheek highlight brush. So, so soft, so silky soft. And the reason why natural hairs are used is because they have cuticles along the hair, and they pick up the product without having the hairs be kind of coarse or rough. And those cuticles kind of grip onto product. So then when you start applying it, it's not this, and I've said this before, like when it comes to most synthetic hair brushes, there's like a plop of all of the product that you just picked up, and then you have to blend it out. Where when you use a natural hair brush, there is like a dispensing of the product that is much more slow. It's not like a plop and blend. It's like a blend as you go. And the experience is just so much better. So much better. I can't, it's something you have to experience. You know, I can only describe it so far, but it really is, it makes all the difference. Good tools make all the difference. And, you know, when I was a hand knitwear designer, you know, the knitting needles I would always tell any students or anyone that I was teaching, just invest in the best tools that you can afford. That would always be, and less is more. So that was always my advice when it comes to tools. And the same goes for makeup. Just get the best brushes that you can afford, that you're comfortable spending, and I don't think you're gonna regret it. Number 10, should luxury perfumes be invested in? I would say yes. You know, again, it's if it's your thing. You know, if perfumes are your thing and you really like perfumes, like I've really gotten into perfumes. So yes, so naturally I am gravitating towards the more luxury perfumes. When I was younger, of course, I purchased, you know, the cheaper ones. You know, there's just something about, I would say the biggest difference is the longevity. There's like no, at least with the cheaper perfumes that I've tried, there's like no longevity. You know, you spray it and it lasts maybe an hour or so, and you're just constantly respraying and respraying. So you're going through quite a bit of it. The other thing that I've noticed with, you know, less expensive perfumes is there's no like complexity when it comes to the scent. It's like, oh, it smells like sweet, sweet flowers, like, and that's it. And there's something about like a more of a synthetic kind of scent versus one that I think is derived from more natural ingredients, more expensive ingredients, rarer ingredients. And so I've really come to appreciate more luxury perfumes. They, like I said, you know, they just last longer, and there's a certain complexity where I feel like some of them just stay very consistent. Some of them, you know, you smell certain notes, and as the day goes on, other notes sort of start to bloom a little bit, and it, you know, it kind of like brings you throughout the day, between like day and night. And it really is like an incredible experience when you come to like really enjoy and get into perfumes that you really can only experience when it comes to like luxury perfumes. So I would definitely say if that's your thing, if you really are into perfumes, or you're kind of getting into it, or you're interested in perfumes, I would say definitely look into the more luxury ones. Question 11, designer or niche perfumes? So designer perfumes are like Tom Ford perfumes. It's, you know, like a brand and then they come out with their own perfume line. Or like Gucci, right? They have clothing, they have makeup or whatever, and then they have their perfume line. Niche perfume brands are brands that really just do fragrance. Maybe they have some candles, or maybe they have some diffusers or whatever, but really like fragrance is their thing. So like Jo Malone, Diptyque, they're really all about fragrances. So those are more of like niche perfume lines. I really enjoy both. You know, as you guys know, I really enjoy some Tom Ford fragrances, but I also really, really enjoy niche perfume brands. And I would say that I enjoy more niche perfumes than I do designer perfumes. So for example, like the Parfums de Marly, the Delina, Maison Francis Kurkdjian, that definitely is a niche perfume house. And I love so many of his fragrances. The Harmonist, as you guys know, I love Hypnotizing Fire. That is a niche fragrance brand. I'm getting into Initio, I think is how you pronounce it. That is a niche perfume brand as well. I love that Oud for Greatness and Side Effect. Those are the two that I just recently hauled. So yeah, I would say if you're kind of curious about it and you don't know where to start, I would start on the niche side and then just see what kind of appeals to you and then kind of grow out from there. Number 12, where is the best place to shop when getting started? I would definitely say a department store of some sort. So like Saks or Neiman Marcus or Bergdorf or whatever's accessible to you, because that way you can kind of, shop a whole bunch of different brands at the same time or talk to different people. Or try different things. So I would definitely start at a department store for sure. But to be a little bit more specific, I'm trying to think like which store is the best. Like Barney's, while that used to be, I would say overall my favorite store, it's not even around anymore. So I don't know why I'm talking about it, probably because I miss it so much. But they didn't have the best, like biggest beauty department. They had, I would say, like 90% of the brands that I really loved. But I would say, I have to say, I'm a very, very big fan of the Saks beauty department, both here in Vegas and the one in New York City. It's huge. The one in New York is huge. But they carry all of my favorite brands pretty much, and they have a very good assortment of all of it. Shopping online at Saks has definitely, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, I feel like it's improved a lot. I felt like before they were just throwing stuff into a box and, taping it up and just shipping it out. But now it's so much nicer. The packaging, everything is like cushioned, bubble wrapped. It's in this like beautiful, like thick, very heavyweight paper with like a black sticker, like everything. I think they definitely upped their game probably during the pandemic, but they definitely upped their game in terms of shipping. So I'm enjoying shopping at Saks in person and online a lot more these days. Well, online a lot more. I've always liked shopping in person there. So yeah, so that would be my one place. Of course, this is, for Americans. In terms of overseas, I'm not sure. Overseas, I love Selfridges Online because I purchased that global shipping, the $55 annual fee global shipping. So I order stuff and the shipping is free. It's amazing. It is worth every cent of those $55. So good. So for the UK, I would say Selfridges, but for the US, I would say Saks. Okay, question number 13. If you only had $200, what would you buy? Wow. Specifically, this was one of Angela's questions. Okay. I would get the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. That is like my new favorite foundation. I absolutely love it. It's not what I have on today. I actually have the Lisa Eldridge foundation on today. But I would get the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. I would get, I think that's about $50. I would get one of the new Tom Ford quads. That's about $90. We're at $140. I would pick up the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. I love this. This is $36. So we're at about $175. Wow, another $25. Oh, I think I know what's around $25. A Natasha Denona lip liner. That's what I would get. So I would get the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation, a Tom Ford quad, the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer, and a Natasha Denona lip liner. I think that's around $200. Okay, number 14. What was your first luxury makeup purchase, and did I regret it? So the one that I can remember, I think I remember when I was younger, like pre-college, we'll say. I remember going makeup shopping with my mom, and she would always go to the counters, like at Macy's or whatever. And she really liked, who did she really like? Estee Lauder, Lancome, YSL. Who else did she shop? I think those were like her three main ones. And, this was like back in the 80s. And so I don't know if she ever bought me anything there or if I ever saved up my allowance and purchased something. Probably not. So the first one I actually remember purchasing as an adult was one of the NARS multiple sticks in Copacabana, which is like a really frosty, cool toned, like pearly white basically with like a little bit of pink in there. And I got it from Sephora, the Sephora on Broadway in Soho in New York. And I don't remember if this is why I purchased it. I don't think this is why I purchased it. I think I purchased it before, but I did put it on. I did wear it for the first date that I had with my husband. Well, my boyfriend then, husband now. And I put it on my eyes, and it was just this like frosty white goo, this frosty white cream that I put on my eyes. I didn't even think to put it on my cheeks. And it was like no one, there was no YouTube back then. And the staff at Sephora, they weren't, they left you alone. I think that was like Sephora's thing back then, was that they would leave you alone. You could just browse makeup because you couldn't really do that then. When you went to the department stores, they like descended upon you with like perfume and all that kind of stuff. No one ever left you alone. Or you had the drugstore where you had like no direction. And then Sephora was kind of in between where they had samples, but their whole thing was to leave you alone and shop for makeup on your own. So I had no direction. I had no idea what these multiple sticks were even about. But like I said, I had always been into fine art, and I'm sure I was taking some sort of class, and it reminded me of like a pastel crayon that I would use anyway. And so I was just really attracted to it. Its form factor, everything. And so I got it, and I had no idea how to use it, but I put it on my eyes for my first date. So no, I don't regret it. Apparently it works if you're trying to woo a man. Get the Copacabana and put it on your eyes because it worked for me. Number 15, last question. What is your biggest luxury makeup regret? My biggest regret. Wow. I have some that I just recently kind of talked about, but I'm trying to go like way back. Let's see. Like what was the worst the worst thing ever? You know what pops to mind? And I know it's been reformulated since, so I know I'm not the only one, and I know it was bad, but do you guys remember when Charlotte Tilbury first came out with her loose powder and it smelled like butt crack? It was terrible. And you could, as soon as you opened the cap, it was like, what is that smell? And it was something about having to do, I think, with like, there were skincare ingredients in there and they didn't want to use too much fragrance to mask it or whatever. Like, all these things. Anyway, I think they reformulated it so it does not smell that bad and it actually works really well. But I was scarred from that. I don't think I'll ever try a Charlotte Tilbury loose powder ever again. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. That is definitely one that comes to mind. I mean, are these regrets? I don't know if these are regrets. These are more like fails. I'm trying to think of a regret. Well, I have a very general regret. I remember when I was first getting into makeup, I was trying liquid lipsticks, and the idea of it was, oh no, I have a better one. Sorry, I have a better regret. So when I was kind of getting back into makeup, I was starting to watch a lot of YouTube. I hadn't started my channel yet, and I started watching Jaclyn Hill. And she's great. She's a great influencer, right? She's very, very watchable. I mean, her energy is a little frenetic, but she's very watchable. And she was just going on and on. And I think a lot of people loved it, but it was like an Urban Decay. Does that count as luxury? Why not? It was an Urban Decay concealer. And I ran out and I got it. I ran out to Sephora. I picked it up. I wish I could remember which exactly it was. Urban Decay Naked Concealer. Does that sound familiar? And she slathered that on, that like famous V situation. And I didn't know what I was doing. And I was like, okay. And I did that, the whole V, like blended it in as best I could. And I remember I just left. I went to work or whatever I was doing. And I took a look in the mirror, maybe like an hour later. And it looked terrible. Like wherever that concealer was, it looked like I had like, I was gonna say fine lines, not even fine, just like crevices. Like it just made my skin look so old. It dried up my skin. I obviously used way too much. But that was a huge, huge makeup regret. And I remember the same day I was playing around with the Jouer lip. They were a liquid lipstick. And every influencer was talking about how comfortable they are. And for a liquid lipstick, sure. But liquid lipsticks in general are not comfortable. They're very drying. There is not one out there that is not drying. So I had that on and I had the concealer and I like had to go wash my face. I just looked like a desiccated husk of a person. Like every ounce of moisture had been sucked out of my lips and my cheek under eye area. I looked terrible, terrible. And I remember I was with a friend and I had been talking about like, oh, like maybe starting a YouTube channel and how I had been getting into watching beauty YouTube. And she was like, it's not working. It's not working for you. I was like, oh my God. And it was then that it dawned on me that I can't watch because I do watch, but I probably shouldn't follow much younger beauty YouTubers and their advice because their skin is so different, right? Anyway, that is my biggest regret for sure. And that is all of the questions for this tag. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Do not forget to check out Angela's channel. She is wonderful. I cannot wait to hear her answers to these questions. And subscribe down below if you haven't already. I'll see you in my next video.